I'm Joshua
Yeah.
Miguel Enriquez, and today we're diving into a topic that's increasingly relevant to our everyday lives and performance: the impact of sleep deprivation on tiredness and fatigue. This research was conducted as part of um, a group of students from a different university, and I'm excited to explore these findings with you. Before we begin, I'm curious, how was how has your sleep been lately? Do you feel like you're getting enough rest at night?
Yeah, I'm getting like my 7 hours of sleep every day. Then I also take my afternoon nap for like 1 to 2 hours.
Okay, that's good to hear. So we'll go to the next slide, and it will be about the overview. And the overview is what we'll be covering over the next 15 minutes. We'll start with the problem itself, what's really going on with people's sleep. Then we'll walk through key literature insights, the theoretical model backing this research, our objective and hypothesis, and the methodology that's been used. Finally, we'll discuss the results, wrap it up with a conclusion, and look at the practical recommendations. Does that agenda sound good to you? Feel free to stop at any point if you have any questions or want to dive deeper into any area.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Okay, then let us proceed. So, for the introduction, sleep is often the first thing we sacrifice when we're busy. So, um, whether it's for work, social activities, or binge watching a show. But what many don't realize is how critical sleep is for basic functions: regulating mood, storing memory, maintaining metabolism, and sharpening mental focus. The lack of it creates a cycle. You feel tired, you can't focus, and that makes you less productive, which can lead to more stress and, ironically, even less sleep. Have you have you or your have you ever experienced this kind of like cycle where stress and productivity demands impact your ability to rest?
Yeah, uh, from when I was in my OJT, I was doing night shift. And like for the next few months, I was doing night shift, and it like the stress from the work, the time. Like I was sleeping in opposite time. I was sleeping in the morning. Yeah, I was like so irritable. I was so tired lately. I was so fatigued. Yeah.
I see. And that lessen your productivity in trying to wake up in mornings and staying around at night, since you're, like you mentioned, your night shift. So that's where we'll be diving to our problem. So our research identified two main problems. First, an increasing rate of fatigue and burnout, especially among young adults and professionals. Second, people are maintaining highly irregular sleep schedules, either because of heavy workloads or elevated stress levels. The result? A public health issue, not just a personal one. Are you noticing this among your colleagues, your clients, or even yourself? Like higher burnout, maybe even like where people show up but aren't functioning at their best?
Oh yeah. Every time I go to my shift, yeah, we're all pretty tired, like from start to finish because of our unusual sleep schedule.
and that's and that's what we're trying to tackle here. And in order for you to have a proper sleep schedule, you at least try to uh, find the time to fit it fit it within your week or your days. So we'll be moving on to the next slide. So for our literature review, let's look at what the current literature says. According to the APA in 2023, even partial deprivation says that getting 5 or 6 hours instead of 8 can heighten anxiety and reduce emotional well-being. Wang and Tang's 2009 study showed that students with poor sleep routines struggle with fatigue and focus during the day. And Dorian, 2007, reported something eye-opening, being sleep-deprived affects attention and memory to the same degree as alcohol intoxication. So on our next slide, for our theoretical framework, we grounded our study in the biophysiosocial model, which is commonly used in nursing and health education. This model looks beyond just physical symptoms. It considers how psychological and social factors contribute to health outcomes for sleep deprivation. That means we're not just tracking physical tiredness, but emotional stress, mental fog, even social withdrawal. And for our objectives, our study had clear objectives. First, to understand the relationship between sleep deprivation and various types of fatigue: mental, physical, and emotional. Second, to identify the habits that lead to poor sleep quality. And third, um, to propose realistic evidence-based techniques that individuals can use to improve both sleep quality and daily energy levels. In our hypothesis, we hypothesize that people getting less than 7 hours of sleep per night, or whose sleep is of poor quality, we would report significantly higher levels of fatigue and exhaustion across the board. And as you'll see in the data, hypothesis was well supported. So to understand this complex issue, we needed a well-rounded method, so we combined both quantitative and qualitative research. On the quantitative side, 150 participants were actigraphy devices for 6 months. These devices measured their sleep patterns in real time. On the qualitative side, we conducted semi-structured interviews with 30 participants to hear their life experiences with sleep deprivation. This combination gave us both hard data and rich context. So the research unfolded in our 4 phases. First, we recruited a diverse sample using stratified sampling. Second, we gathered baseline data using wearable and questionnaires. And third, participants were split into control and experimental groups based on their sleep behaviors. And finally, we analyzed the data using SPSS a statistical tool that help us identify the key correlation. So here are the results. Let's look what we have found in our study. There was a strong negative correlation of negative 0.78 between sleep duration and fatigue. That's statistically significant with um, 0.001. In short, we less sleep equals more fatigue. Um, part participants were who slept under 6 hours reported fatigue levels that were um, 68%, and then those who got recommended with 7 to 8 hours of sleep. We also saw how fatigue manifested. Physical fatigue is 31%, cognitive fatigue is 28%, emotional exhaustion is 22%, and reduced motivation is 19%. Which of these fatigue types do you think is most relevant, prevalent, or disruptive in your environment?
In our environment, because I think uh, I work as an aircraft mechanic, so cognitive fatigue plays a role because you need to be active, uh, especially at night, because you can't see very much, so we need to be alert and cognitive. We need to be aware of our surroundings. So I definitely think cognitive fatigue is a factor uh, in uh, in our work.
I see. And that affects how you work mentally in your workplace, seeing that you do OJT in night shifts and it demands your cognitive cognitive ability to focus on certain tasks, and I can see why it lessens lessens your um yeah productivity this in this matter.
Exactly.
So we'll be going to the conclusion. We'll be concluding this. So what does this all mean? Like, inefficient sleep doesn't just make you tired, it also disrupts your cellular energy, your chemical balance and focus, as well as the emotional stability. And the effects aren't just temporary. Chronic sleep deprivation builds up over time, leading to long-term health and productivity issues. Have you seen these kinds of cumulative effects where short-term fatigue becomes a long-term performance or mental health issue?
Oh yeah, like an example is like one of the cleaners in the company that I used to training for. Like she was doing night shift for like a really long time, uh, uh, and like she's not really a night person, so she has to drink a beverage called Sting like every day. She drank that every day just to uh, be more uh, be more awake, and because of this, because of mixing fatigue and like her drinking this thing, the beverage, she I believe she got hospitalized because of that, and uh, and like she and because of that she missed uh, 1 week of work and she was always sick. Uh, she was always sick. Yeah, she was always missing words. She was always had runny nose because because of the night shift. Yeah, like low sleep. If you're night shift, you basically have low sleep because you not only have to be awake in the morning and you also have to be awake at night, so you have less sleep hours. And she was always getting sick. So like I noticed it definitely the effects of lack of sleep.
Uh, I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your colleague, and
Oh yeah, oh no, she's still alive. Okay.
yeah, I just thought I wanted to express my sympathy to her and seeing that she would go all the way to put her health just just so she can attend this 1 week work 1 week duty during the night shift and seeing how it's um, really taking a toll on how mechanical engineer aeronautical engineers I mean mechanics put their time into the schedule and to be physically um, exhausted from the night shifts and the mornings they'll have to stay up because like you said you have to also stay up but in the day and you don't get
Yeah,
much sleep
eat
at night
course and all of it. Yeah.
and that and that's essentially diminishing your um, emotional capacity and also physical. So I can see why um, this would uh, this would be a mental and performance issue. So for the next slide, I'll be doing some recommendations. So here's what we propose moving forward. First one is to develop uh, proper sleep hygiene education programs, and these can teach simple practices like consistent bedtimes, screen-free wind down routines, and sleep-friendly environments. And the second one is sleep assessment. Not everyone needs the same interventions. Tailoring strategies based on chronotypes or sleep awake patterns can lead to better outcomes. And that wraps up for our presentation and this study that I've done research about. So, Sir Mark, thank you for being here, and
And thank you for the presentation.
you're welcome. Um, I hope this presentation gave you valuable insight into how sleep impacts us and how we might finally might begin to address it practically. And I hope you get enough sleep